Hello everybody, welcome back to Reddit Lurkin, and today we're sidestepping. We're stepping away from the thread we've been on, just because I do want to expand what threads we have a couple different playlists for people with different interests. And today we're doing creepypastas. I found a couple short ones. I wanted to do goofier ones because I cannot remember what it was. But what was it called? It was something about Mario, but it cracked me up. So today our stories are The Basement Tenant, which I'm fine with reading because I don't have a basement. The driving lesson that ended with a car following us and a gun. I don't know why. The title gets me. And the last song, a monologue from a songbird, the last of his kind, which I love that title. These are all new ones. I wanted to do classic creepypastas, but that website is so littered with ads, and I do not have an ad blocker, which I should invest, but I don't have one. So without further ado, let's get into The Basement Tenant. Leek and Rashad had just moved into their first home together. An older, slightly rundown rental, but perfect for their budget and quiet enough for the life they were building. A week in, Rashad had joked the place had personality, mostly because of the weird noises at night, and how cold the basement always felt, even in the middle of summer. One day while organizing the garage, Leek had found a second set of keys and labeled Basement Access Owner Only. She thought it was odd since they'd already been in the basement to do laundry. When she asked the landlord about it, he quickly brushed it off with a mumbled, "Old locks. Nothing to worry about." Then strange things started happening. Leek would wake up in the washer running, but empty. Rashad swore he heard soft footsteps below them when they were in bed. Once, their dog refused to go down there and just growled at the basement door all night. Things escalated quickly. Rashad came home from work one afternoon to find the basement door wide open. Thinking Leek was down there, he called out, no answer. So he went down and found nothing but the flickering laundry light and a strange metallic smell in the air. Later that night, Leek told him she'd been out all day. They finally decided to set up a camera near the basement stairs, half laughing about it, half not. The next morning, they checked the footage. At 3:17 a.m., the basement door creaked open. A figure crawled out on all fours, thin, pale, wearing nothing but a stained t-shirt and boxers. He stood slowly, listening, then walked up to the second floor. For 6 full minutes, he stood silently over Leek and Rashad's bed as they slept. Then he walked back down and disappeared into the basement. When they showed the footage to the police, the landlord was forced to speak. There was a crawl space under the basement meant for old piping access, but apparently a homeless man had been living down there for years, unnoticed before the previous tenants moved out. The landlord thought he was gone when the place was cleaned out, but when police searched this crawl space, it was empty again. Just a small mattress, bag of raw meat, and dozens of Polaroid photos of Leek and Rashad sleeping. Each photo was labeled with the same word written in shaky black marker: mine. Oh boy. I really like that. That one's really good because the scary thing about it, there's a lot of creepypastas that step into the creature realm. Like, I checked the fridge and we were all out of milk. And then I milked it from the creature. Like, stuff like that. So, to see ones that, like, could legit happen, I arguably think are way more terrifying. Like, there's a creepy factor to creatures, but, like, something that's legitimately possible, it's so scary, man. This one, my driving lesson ended with a car following us and a gun. I don't know why the title makes me laugh. Hopefully it's not a true story. Because if so, this doesn't feel like a place to post on Creepypasta. But I digress. Let's begin. This event happened in August 2015. At that time, I was 18 years old and preparing for my driving test. A few months earlier, I had applied for a driver's license and was taking driver's lessons. As far as I remember, the person who was teaching me had a private car. The car also had a brake on the passenger side. During the second lesson, I drove more in the city. Our last lesson was a mix of everything, focusing mostly on parking. I don't remember the instructor's name, but he was a really good person, relaxed, calm, and a great teacher. The lesson started around 4 p.m. We drove on a few different roads and went over some things. I don't remember too many details, but around 6 p.m., the sun had started setting and it was getting dark. Then, we went to a parking lot. The instructor told me to park the car. Then he got out of the car, took out some cheap, small orange cones, placed them like parking lines, and then got back in the car and we started the parking exercise. The area wasn't very big, but there was enough space to practice. While I was starting the parking exercise, a car came from the road and entered the same parking lot. I didn't pay much attention to it because it came from the other end of the lot. The car parked at a distant spot. I continued with my parking practices and didn't focus on that car. No one got out of it, and it stayed there. A few minutes later, another car arrived. It parked near the first car, but a little closer to us. The instructor muttered something like, "I wonder what these people are doing here." It was strange for people to park in a lot like this at that hour. We'd specifically come here because I thought it would be empty. At least, that's what I assumed. Still, I focused on my parking. I thought parking would be the hardest part for me. At that moment, one of the cars that arrived earlier suddenly started backing up. At first, I thought it was just passing by, but after I had parked, the car came right behind us and stopped just a few meters away. It stayed there for about a minute, not moving at all. The instructor told me to stay in the car while he tried to figure out what was going on. I didn't look at him, just stared ahead and waited for him to return. Suddenly, my instructor came back unexpectedly and quickly. He was in a panic and immediately told me to leave the parking lot. I told him we hadn't picked up the cones, but he said it didn't matter. It was clear he was nervous. I started the car and we drove out of the parking lot. The car behind us followed us. The instructor told me not to panic. When he got close to the vehicle, he noticed a gun and quickly returned to our car. At that moment, the other car started following us. The instructor told me to drive to the nearest police station, not to speed, and to stay calm. It took us about 10 minutes to get to the police station, but it felt like hours. Both cars followed us along the way, but didn't overtake us or do anything else. Finally, when we reached the police station, I drove the car inside, and they continued on their way. I parked the car, we went inside to report the incident. I was so happy to have made it out safely. I passed the driving test on my first try, but I'll never forget this experience. Check out more true car driving horror stories. The literal one thing that I asked. Again, I mean, it's apparently true, but again, it's the realism of real life that's so terrifying in and of itself that, like, these are things that could legitimately happen, and you don't know when. It's not something you could predict, like, oh, a car with a gun is going to follow me on Tuesday. It's, you're driving on Tuesday and then it's there. It's just so terrifying. I was hoping to get a creature one in there, but if there's no creatures today, for the next episode, I will intentionally try to find one with creatures. I kind of just pulled a couple out of a hat here today. The last song, a monologue from a songbird, the last of his kind. Before we read this, I love this title. I don't know what it is about it, but it's so beautiful. And it's not very long, so they don't remember my name anymore. Not the trees I once sang to, not the clouds that shaped themselves to the chorus, not even the wind that carried my notes across the valleys. My song once echoed across the valleys and the eaves. My voice echoed through the jungles, lit fire at the hearts of the brethren, warned of storms and those who hunt us. Now it fades like the mist. I have searched every sky I can reach, every crumbled nest and hollow trees. There's no more, no echoes, no other voices, just silence. And the thing that haunts through it It is not hawk, cat, or snake. It is not flap, or stalk, or bite. It's the silence that devours. Whoa. It comes for the endings, always the last. I've seen it once, as the final ember of my kin vanished into the abyss of its maw. Not teeth, but obscene, fast, and soft, like forgetting made of flesh. It follows me now, always a little behind the clouds, always waiting. So I sing. Every day, I open my mouth to push sound against the dark. My syrinx is cracked, feathers fall like dead leaves, but I sing, and the silence await. Patient and ancient, it cannot feed while my song still lives. But I feel it closer now, its hunger grows bold. I skipped one note this morning. One, and it moved. When the last note leaves me, when no breath remains to lift melody, the silence will not just take me, it will erase all trace I ever was. My feathers, my name, my song, even the memory of what a bird is. If I stop, none of you will ever know I existed, and perhaps you already don't. As with the title, I loved that. It's not creepy in a traditional sense. It's eerie, and it's kind of moving in a way. Like, I think it plays, and this is just my interpretation, but I think it really plays on remembrance. Like, it's almost putting silence as this physical thing here, is how I'm picking up on it. But you forget something, eventually everything's forgotten. Eventually, things are forgotten by everybody. And if something's forgot by everyone, it's not that it ceases to exist or have existed, but it's almost as if so. And that's what this is playing on, and it's so beautiful. I think my favorite line in this has to be, I've seen it once, as the final ember of my kin vanished into its abyss of its maw. Not teeth, but absence, fast and soft, like forgetting made flesh. That is one of the, I don't even know the word I'm looking for here, most intense lines I've ever read in something. It's so simple and so blatant, but it's beautifully terrifying. And I love that. I love that. That's probably one of my favorite short stories I've ever read. Wow. I don't know what I was expecting from it. And I'm sorry to keep going on about it, but for a story this short to be that profound in a way, it's beautiful. That one, let's give these ratings real quick. The Basement Tenant, I think it's a 7 out of 10. We'll give it, we'll do 8 out of 10. Because I liked the legitimate approach to it. Like the curiosity from being like, okay, what's going on? To the very real, very possible fear of what do they call them? It's like once you stay in a house for so long, unexpected, like you are legally a tenant there. I don't remember what it's called, but the very real possibility of that. Driving lesson ended with a car following us and a gun. That one for me is a 6 out of 10. Scary, yes. But I don't think they leaned into the horror too much of it. If it is a true story, that is terrifying. But also, for the title, I feel like "and the gun" could have been left out. Having the gun show up later in the story would have been like a real oh shit moment. But to have it in the title kind of, I feel, pulls away from the reveal that there was a gun. And then, of course, the last song, Monologue from a Songbird, The Last of His Kind. That's a 10 out of 10 for me. The wording, like, for the length that it is, the wording, like, the imagery that it plays and the story it's able to tell in so few words is amazing to me. I love that story. Yeah, so that was today's Reddit Lurkin on Creepypastas. Let me know what you guys think if you like this over Emma the Asshole. Let me know what you would rate these stories and what you thought about them. I'm very curious, I always am. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Hope you're having a good day. If you're watching early on, have a good rest of your day. I will see you in the next one, and until then, go creep some pasta. I don't know what that means. I don't know how that could be interpreted, but just go do it. Whatever your brain tells you that means, that's what it means. Maybe. Alright. Until the next one. See ya!